What's a cool fact about the human body that a lot of people don't know? The bone that supports your eyeball, called the orbital floor, is paper thin and has a large empty cavity, called the maxillary sinus, on the opposite side. When you get hit hard in the eyeball, instead of your eyeball itself rupturing, the bone underneath your eye breaks, which is called an orbital floor fracture. This releases the pressure from the impact and saves your eyeball. If you crush a beach ball against a concrete wall, you can pop it, but if you try crush it against a styrofoam wall, the wall breaks, but the beach ball is fine. An amazing evolutionary adaptation to protect your eyesight. Really late, but I discovered this thing during my thesis. We were researching patients with neurological problems and people who had brain injuries, and we found a woman in her 30s that had had part of her brain removed. More specifically, the area that activates when you move your body. Well, she was moving and talking with just some minor missteps, and theoretically it was not possible. She was paralyzed in the first 3 months after the operation. She was caught in a car accident, if I remember correctly. We were trying out a new scanner for the brain, and we found out that an area of the brain that wasn't supposed to work and control the movement was doing just that. The occipital area, usually controls the vision, was now working as a motor control area. The brain is really amazing. Some people are born with extra ribs called cervical ribs, which grow from the C7 vertebrae in the neck. It's a weird and rare mutation that a lot of people don't even know they have, although it is also a cause of thoracic outlet syndrome, which is where pressure is applied to the nerves, veins, and arteries running into the arms. It can be really painful, and in some rare cases, can cause gangrene in the arms. If left untreated, it can kill you, if you're really unlucky. Some people will cough if they put something in one ear. A very small percentage will cough if something is in either ear. It is called Arnold's ear cough reflex. You know the smell of rain or disturbed soil? It's a compound produced by bacteria called geosmin, and the human nose is extremely sensitive to it. We can smell it at as low a concentration as 5 parts per trillion. Edit. Sorry for my confusing wording. The compound is called geosmin, not the bacteria. Your liver can regenerate, and much faster than you think. I had a quarter of my liver removed, and a month later it was back. A woman was found without a cerebellum, the part of the brain that controls motor abilities of the body. She is alive, and has no real side effects from this condition that we know of. Edit. Okay, to clarify, her cerebellum was not removed, nor did I do it. She was born without one, and the medical professionals, again, not me, found out after she complained about a headache, which led to an MRI. The dive reflex. When your face is submerged in chilled water and you hold your breath, it causes your heart rate to lower and blood supply to be increased to vital organs such as the heart and brain. This is useful to help increase the amount of time you can hold your breath, but is also useful in helping to manage PSVT, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, which is characterized by occasional bouts of high heart rate. There is a muscle called palmaris longus in the forearm missing in about 10% of the population. You can easy test if you have it by putting your pinky and thumb together while holding your palm facing up and flex the hand upwards. If one tendon is standing out more than the others, that's palmaris longus. There's a small fishing village / tribe in Asia where the fishermen have evolved to be able to hold their breath for around 10 minutes while hunting underwater. Archaeologist here. You can give birth after you've died. Occasionally we will come across a really confronting burial where the skeleton of an unborn child is halfway through its mother's pelvis. Generally what happens is the woman has died before giving birth, and after burial a buildup of gases from decomposition forces the baby out. We refer to this as coffin birth. You mostly breathe out of one nostril at a time, and the dominant nostril switches every hour or so. The optimal human circadian rhythm is actually closer to 25 hours than 24 in experiments depriving people of sunlight and other triggers that maintain your circadian rhythm. A small percentage of people are super sleepers and are fully recharged after 2 to 4 hours of sleep each night. Scientific name for your thumb is pallex and your big toe is hallux. Not just yours, everybody's. When we're in an unfamiliar environment we sleep with half our brain at a time, kinda like sharks, and that's why we wake up easier. The war that's constantly happening inside of you. Everyone knows about your immune system, but the sheer complexity of it is amazing. Like, your body has neutrophils, which are like the generic white blood cell that constantly goes around your blood vessels seeking out foreign objects. But did you know there are cells called macrophages which are like way better neutrophils in the fact that neutrophils mostly swallow bacteria to kill them. Macrophages do this to accept they can swallow close to 100. You have stuff like dendritic cells whose main goal is to be an early warning system. They swallow an invader, then carry a piece of it back to T cells to activate them. Once they're activated, T cells swarm that specific invader and kill anything that has that antigen. I didn't even aim close to all of the cells that are doing constant battle inside of you 24/7 365 days a year. Immune privilege. Your immune system doesn't know your eyes exist. Babies are born without kneecaps. They develop around 2 years edit. Apparently some peoples in Asia have a bunch of DNA from Denisovians, another hominid people coexisted and interbred with. Cutting the corpus callosum connects two brain hemispheres, can produce some freaky results, such as your hand doing S***T that your conscious mind is aware of, writing a sentence, or scratching an itch without knowing, for instance. Vitality. You'd be surprised how much blood you can lose and fully recover reasonably quickly. The human body contains enough fat to make 7 bars of soap. Your heart rate increases about a minute before partaking in exercise. It is known as the anticipatory rise and happens involuntarily. Eyes color isn't strictly based on recessive/dominant. That's a major incorrect oversimplification. Most of our body never gets more than 20 years old. Our cells divide in a process called mitosis and then die. With the exception of your nervous system, the oldest organ in your body is the lungs. In terms of age of your cells, your skin never gets more than a few weeks old. Your mouth never gets more than a few days old. Essentially, the reason we age is not because the cells are old, but they lose their ability to perform functions as effectively as they go through the mostly genetically determined aging process. Your cells are only designed to divide a set number of times due to structures called telomeres. It's a little more complicated than this, but I'm not writing a textbook, nor am I qualified to do so. Your body can, in a way, evolve during your life to fit your needs. Say you are a New York City cab driver with a normal brain. You start when you are young and are very dependent on a map or directions from the passengers. As you continue to do this for years, your brain adapts to handle its new job. Areas of your brain in charge of spatial awareness and memory of roads starts to grow, building a map in your brain. MRIs have shown a significant increase. It's not just your brain though. There is a village somewhere in the Mediterranean, I believe, where they adapt to living in water. Their homes are built on stilts in the water and they are strictly pescatarian by necessity. Their eyes develop thicker outer layers for seeing underwater for long durations as well as a huge lung capacity. Humans are amazing. Edit. Wrote this from mobile after just waking up. Details were fuzzy. Adaptation may be a better way to describe what's happening. The tribes is Southeast Asia, not Mediterranean. The Maguire cab study showed the brain neuroplasticity. It is London cabbies, not New York. Thank you for those who helped fact check me down low. And yes, all nature is amazing, not just humans. When we get sunburn, that's not the heat of the sun that's hurting us most of the time, but it's little skin cells killing themselves to protect us from skin cancer. Not so cool, if I think about it. Some people, like me, sneeze whenever they think about sexual fantasies/acts. Basically, you can have a sexually induced sneeze. Some humans do not feel any pain and have to be closely monitored because they can get sick/injured so easily and not even realize. We have an internal regulator that prevents us from using our full strength. Our muscles usually only work at about 60% maximum of what we are capable of. In extreme life and death situations these regulators stop and we are able to use our full strength. This is how the parts where people tipped over cars and similar come from. these regulators are, because at full strain we heavily damage our bodies. Essentially, you could lift something to the point where it is either lifted or your arm just breaks instead. I believe there has also been someone who ran so hard his leg broke. The femur is stronger than steel and concrete. You're taller in the morning than the rest of the day/night. The mouth and anus are both continuous with the external environment, and so is your GI tract. This means that from an anatomical point of view, food you've swallowed is still outside you. The human head weighs about as much as a bowling ball. The human body is the most efficient of all land animals at long distance running. Much better than a dolphin. Dolphins BTW are horrible at running. Your sense of balance is strongly linked to your eyes, and you may notice it's harder to keep your balance with them closed, even if you're standing still. Amniotic fluid is mostly baby urine. Women are actually programmed to forget the pain of childbirth after a few months or so. If this didn't happen, most women would only end up having one child, which would eventually lower the population. The small area between your eyebrows is your glabella. Mitochondria started out as a symbiotic organism that infected cells. Make sure to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching.